Hello and welcome to the fourth edition of the Black Business Roundtable powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. This is a very special edition called Thinking Globally. As many of you know, there's been a great initiative by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, our President Larry Ivory, the country of Zimbabwe, in order to facilitate trade, the interest in doing business there, and they doing business here, being able to go over there and set up business and work with other CEOs corporations that are already there in order to facilitate wealth. We want to build wealth within the Black community, within the state of Illinois. And you know what? Now, what has happened is a delegation has come over of CEOs and entrepreneurs from Zimbabwe that are part of this effort that has been going on for the last few months. So today we actually get a chance to have these conversations and kind of begin to unpack what these type of relationships will look like. We have on the podcast with us, we have Mr. Larry Ivory, the president of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, and we have two esteemed CEOs from the country of Zimbabwe. Please, would you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business, back home.
Whoever wants to go
Hey,
first, go right ahead.
hey, now for some reason your mic has gone out. I don't know what it is because we were just talking clearly just a moment ago.
So I don't know if you can.
All right, I can hear you now.
Okay. So thank you very much. My name is Chipo Nduzo, Chipo, and I'm from Zimbabwe. And basically in Zimbabwe, I work for a company that I partly own, which is called Providence Human Capital. It's a human capital organization. But as an entrepreneur and as a woman who multitasks, I also have other interests and other businesses that I was very pleasantly surprised to see that um, in America there is a lot of things happening in Atlanta, in Chicago, in terms of black entrepreneurship. So I'm happy to be in this conversation, and I hope when we finish this conversation, there'll be so much more that we have also learned. I would like to just quickly thank our CEO roundtable that has managed to also just work with you guys for this long and brought us here. Thank you very much.
All right. I can't wait to unpack some of the things that you do within your business. So, Mr. Neva, come on,
Yes,
tell us something about yourself and your business.
I'm Neva Ncube. I'm the CEO of Dadem Tande Investments. Dadem Tande Investments is a full stack technology company that was founded and still headquartered in Zimbabwe. We provide services that include internet connectivity, cloud services, cybersecurity solutions, software development, and IT hardware, and what we call value-added services. And in that pillar, we do Internet of Things. We've got a VoIP network of our own, and we are also beginning to venture into managed services. We in the last 2 or so years took a decision that our company can not only be Zimbabwean based, but we want to spread our wings primarily into the SADC region, but in the fullest of time to also cover the greater part of Africa in line with the aspirations of the African continental free trade area. So outside of Zimbabwe, we have an operation in Botswana, in Namibia, and Malawi. And next year we are looking at Tanzania and Zambia.
Wow. So,
Well, never.
just
Let
as
me
we're
let me
looking,
ask this question, Never, real quick. MC, never say he's in the investment business, and that's so fascinating because I come from the investment banking background also. So I'm looking forward to the conversation in more detail. I pass it back to you, MC Pearson.
Larry, I immediately also identify with him because when he began to speak about being in the IT sector, my first company was an IT company, and I used to be a Microsoft certified systems engineer in my younger days when my hair was black. You know, so so I completely identify with you guys. Now, you know, so there's a delegation of CEOs from your country and business owners, entrepreneurs that are here this weekend, and we have a lot of stuff going on. Um, what was the vision for you guys coming to Chicago this weekend? What's the mission, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Okay, so because we are, like you say, we're about 17 of us CEOs from Zimbabwe, and I think personally, we've got a Shona saying. Shona is one of our languages in Zimbabwe. We have a Shona saying that says every new thing comes from traveling. So it's chirimurutsoka. So it's every new thing comes from traveling. It's a Shona proverb, and what it is, or I will say an African proverb. So what it is when you travel, you are going to find new things. Yes, we've got the internet, and we can connect online as we are doing right now. But in traveling, there's so much that I personally have already learned from the airport, from the things that people are doing in terms of AI, for instance, in terms of just checking into a hotel and just the small things, because I'm in human capital. It's just the human behavior, just looking around and seeing how people are behaving, how consumers are behaving here, what's happening with the weather, what does it mean when the weather changes. So it's all those small things that you learn by traveling as a CEO, because then you get this innovative spirit that you then take home with you. But the idea was, let's go and see what other black people are doing. Let's not reinvent the wheel in terms of what you guys have done because of the vastness of your economy. Definitely, what have you done in areas of? I'm going to go back to AI because it's quite close to my heart in terms of what we are doing with humans, and are we really going to replace them? What's happening in America? How are people working in terms of flexibility and stuff like that? So there's a whole lot that we've come to see, but it's part of rites of passage for any CEO to travel to advanced economies and see how our economies can also benefit from your chamber of commerce.
Yeah, just to add to
We
what people has said, I think MC, one of the key areas of focus for any CEO that is worth his salt is building up networks and strategic partnerships and alliances. I think this is one of the areas that of focus that we have been having throughout the week, making sure that our businesses and what we do can also find expression in what black entrepreneurs and business people are doing, not only in this state of Chicago, but also in the Georgia state where we've been in the last three days. And in addition to that, I'm in the space of technology, and the rate at which technology changes is alarming. And it's also being able to find the other partners here in the US in generally that can then be our conduit into introducing new types of technologies that drive the fourth industrial revolution.
You know, I find it very interesting, especially the African proverb to travel. Give me that one more time. To travel is to gain knowledge, or to travel is to help me out.
Every new thing comes from traveling. Every new innovation comes from traveling. So I will say it in my language, which is Chicha Chirimurutsoka. So every time you step your foot outside of your area, you will definitely be innovative. You'll find something and you get new knowledge from other people.
You know, I
well,
find it very interesting. Go ahead, Larry.
I was just saying, I find that comment such a powerful comment because when you take a look at the great explorers, they came from Africa. Where it comes to the U.S., a lot of people think they Indian way before the Indians even got here. So I love the comment in reference to travel, what that means. So beautiful comment.
What else I like about it is because it lines directly up with one of the missions of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be taking a delegation of CEOs and entrepreneurs from America, from the state of Illinois to Zimbabwe, and one of the things that we're doing is encouraging these CEOs and entrepreneurs to step outside of the US, to look at the possibilities of what could be done, in Zimbabwe, and one of the ideas is, just like you said, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's see what the opportunities are. Let's find out, where we can all partner together. For you guys to come here and expand your businesses, and us to come go there and expand our businesses and or start up brand new ones. So you guys have been here for what, 3 days now, and you were with our friends down in Georgia. What was the most impressionable thing that landed on you while you were in Georgia thus far?
Um, so MC, for me personally, it was really the new Black Street Mall, the Wall Street Mall. That was very fascinating. And the reason it was fascinating was for two things. The first thing you've just mentioned, starting new businesses. There's definitely going to be a Wall Street in Harare when we get back home. Um, and it's it was so fascinating because the excellence, the detail that has been put in that Wall Street, and the reclamation of buildings, which we saw at the Ponds market as well. So there was a lot of and entertainment. So I'll come back to, for me, when AI comes into play, which it has already, we're going to have more
Hmm.
time. We're not going to lose our jobs, but we're going to have more time to entertain ourselves and to have more fun. So I'm hoping to go to a Chicago bar, jazz bar, or and see how we can recreate something like that in Harare. But it was just seeing these spaces where entertainment and well-being are such key aspects of creating new businesses, whilst AI is answering my calls. So it's all those things that were fascinating for me. So in Atlanta, it was certainly the event that we had at the Wall Street, and seeing the Ponds market.
So Niva, she made a great point where she talked about AI. A lot of people think that AI is a threat to their jobs or to their companies. You know, from your perspective, do you see AI as more of a threat, or do you see it as an accelerator? Because one of the things she spoke about was being able to reclaim her time as an entrepreneur, and have AI perform some of the tasks that she would routinely do on her own. So it sounds to me like she thinks of it more as an accelerator for her businesses versus a deterrent. Coming from an African perspective, what is your take?
I think similar to what Chipo has said, I had the pleasure of delivering a presentation at the last Institute of Personnel Management in Zimbabwe, and my piece was around AI. And I think one of the arguments that I did put forward then was there are repetitive jobs that AI is going to take over, so that it allows us to spend our time thinking and our time being human beings. I think at times we forget the softness of what we need to deliver to our people, because we are busy doing things that machines can do on our behalf. So we need to spend time in the thinking area. We need to spend time doing a lot of more intuition, and also just being human, being empathetic to the people that work for us. So that's the way that I look at that technology. And funny enough, yesterday we had a conversation with Dr. Fraser. She's one of the entrepreneurs in Atlanta, and we're really going to be tying up to make sure that we deliver some of the AI solutions together into the Zimbabwean market.
Well, one of the things, MC, and to our guests is that, you know, we went to Zimbabwe on our advanced trade mission with Professor Codwell, Dr. Jeffrey Sterling, a host of others, and we were just blown away by the opportunity. 15 million people, natural resources, an economy that has enormous potential to grow. And it was so exciting to see our brothers and sisters and to reconnect, not only from a business side, but even from a spiritual and just coming back home. And I think often African Americans travel all around the globe, but we never come back home in the way that we should. And I think that's so important for us to reconnect and also understand the incredible business opportunities that exist in Africa and how we can connect with our brothers and sisters and CEOs who are doing things and come together, create stronger, better companies and help grow the economy. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, if
Uh,
I
You
may
know,
add something, if I may add something, Larry, to what you have mentioned, I think one of the things that also fascinated me when we were interacting with our colleagues from the Atlanta Black Chamber is to see how they are trying to help each other and co-elevate their businesses, which is something that probably, as people of African descent, we don't do so well. And it's actually pleasing to see that we are now beginning to take some deliberate steps to work together with our colleagues and brothers and sisters that are in the diaspora to make sure that we grow our businesses within Africa and make Africa proud as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll mention this, guys, is that many years ago, I was a part of the group who helped form the African Opportunity Fund. And what we looked at, because I was in investment banking, and what we saw in the marketplace that there were markets that were outperforming the U.S. market by significant margins, and there was enormous opportunity. America even though we have a $23 trillion economy, we only represent about 5% of the opportunity uh, in the world. So there's a world out there, especially Africa, that is so exciting for us to connect with and to help make a positive impact. That I'm really excited about you guys being here. I'm excited to know and understand the country of Zimbabwe better, but also to understand the ability for us to come together and network and help grow businesses in a significant fashion and maintain our global competitive advantage in helping the businesses grow.
yes. And if I can come in, I liked the conversation about getting back home and feeling the spirituality and the Africanness and the tenacity of the African people that you mentioned, Larry. In that, I think that's a competitive advantage that we have as Africans, and I felt it yesterday when we are in Atlanta, and I'm feeling it now that you come in and you are put on a radio show immediately and you're welcomed. And the conversation that I had with Professor Caldwell on WhatsApp, just the chat, was very welcoming and warm. And I think it's an advantage that we need to really utilize as African business people, because by nature we are not. I'm going to use a very controversial word. We are not very. We're not. Red ocean competitors. We like to be cooperative. We want to work together and spread and love and money and all these things from a family perspective. And I think that's we need to just sit down and recreate and co-create an economy that looks at encompassing everything about the world, but putting our Africanness into perspective. So it's something that I really felt at home when I was in Atlanta. I felt, the laughter, the joy, the whatever, but still making business deals and still making money. And interestingly, also still connecting us even with our African sisters and brothers that are in South Africa and in Zambia and in Nigeria. We also met them here, and we did realize that the other things that we're also not collaborating, which we could be doing much more. So yeah, it's so exciting that we're here.
So when you guys think about the opportunities in Africa, what point to some of the competitive, but point to where there's great opportunities from your because I know there's all kinds of opportunity, but let's highlight, in your opinion, where there's significant opportunity for partnerships.
Yeah. So if I can go in there, Larry, I think if you look at the African landscape now, and we always joke and say Africa's time is now. If you look at the landscape, there is the huge opportunities in uh, food production, and food processing, and also manufacturing out of that. If you look at the world in general, Larry, Africa holds 17% of the arable land in the world, but Africa has got 65% of the uncultivated land. So there is an opportunity for Africa to actually feed the world if we can bring in production efficiencies and effectiveness. That's one area. The other one is around energy, the green economy that is well spoken about throughout the world now. And I think this is a huge opportunity in being able to produce clean energy out of wind and solar in Africa. You spoke about the mineral wealth. Africa is very rich in mineral wealth. But what is not happening at the moment is that most of the minerals that are being mined in Africa are just shipped out of Africa without being
Yes.
beneficiated. And therefore, we lose out on the true value of those minerals. But I think there is an opportunity to actually set up beneficiation industries and manufacturing plants within Africa so that those minerals can be processed nearer to where they are being mined. And then there is infrastructure development. I come from the technology space. There is a huge demand for data centers in Africa, just across Africa. At the moment, you see data centers have been set up in South Africa, in Kenya. You go up is Morocco and Ghana. But Africa is a continent of 54 countries, and therefore there is still a huge opportunity in setting up those facilities, because now there is a growing demand that the data that is generated within Africa and the data that belongs to Africans should be kept within the continent. And therefore, we need to be building these storage facilities to keep that data. And last but not least, under infrastructure, there is a housing boom in most of the African countries, and specific to Zimbabwe, because this rural urban migration is real. People are leaving their rural homes, coming into towns, and there isn't enough houses to accommodate them. So that brings up a very huge opportunity for US businesses to collaborate with their African counterparts to bring more housing stock into the market.
Well, that is a sweet spot for us at the chamber because we have some of the most successful black contractors in the country who are part of our organization, and I'm really hoping that we really take time to identify the vastness and the opportunity for us to create legacy wealth, but also to help build Mother Africa. And I think it's such an important piece, and I'm so glad that we get a chance to be a part of this incredible movement that has started, to begin to evolve at a whole different level. And I'm sure, hopefully, after we get through in the next couple of days, that we're going to be even more excited. And we're going to be bringing back in December the 1st to December the 9th, we're going to have close to 75 different black business owners who will be coming over to Zimbabwe to do business, to build the relationships. And that's why we've also pushed with our investment fund, what you'll hear about tonight in our meeting, the investment fund where we're trying to get Congress to set aside 50 billion dollars for African American businesses to joint venture with Zimbabwean businesses to come together and create partnerships and create legacy wealth and create enormous opportunity. We're asking for that from. We're going to be asking for that from our strategy, and I know our time is short because our meeting is going to start at 6, and we probably need to, at this time or in a few moments, have some final comments and then let you guys get ready to kind of convene over at this incredible hotel that we're staying at that is has ownership of an African American owner who's actually going to be speaking at the event also because he's very interested in opening and building the hotel in Zimbabwe.
Well, one thing that we do want to say, we're going to give our guests the last comments. We are having a networking event tomorrow at Hollywood Boulevard in Woodridge, Illinois, and that will be from, if memory serves me correct, it'll be from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Is that correct, Larry?
That's correct.
So anybody who is interested in getting to know our 17 CEOs that are part of our delegation, and finding out information about the possibilities of starting a business and or being part of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce delegation that is going over to Africa, Zimbabwe specifically on December 1st, you should show up. Look up Hollywood Boulevard in Woodridge. We will be there from 11 to 2 p.m. On tomorrow. So, uh, we ask that you will join us. Sir, Nivea, would you like to have the last words on this evening before we head on over to our special event at 6 p.m.?
No, thanks, MC. I think for me is to really thank you and Larry for creating this opportunity for us to speak about what is possible in Africa in general and what is possible for Zimbabwe. We're really looking forward to creating these strategic partnerships and alliances with our brothers and sisters that are in America and in the greater part of the diaspora, because we really believe that together we can create what Larry called legacy wealth, not only for ourselves, but for also for future African generations. I think if we all work together, we can make this a reality. We can also, especially for us that are still based in the continent, one of the things that worries us, we are seeing a lot of our youth leaving the continent, going to other continents in pursuit of opportunities. We really want to make sure that they can stay within the continent and be able to reap the immense benefits that the continent provides. But we're really very grateful that we are here and that we are being hosted by our brothers and sisters that are in the US.
That is awesome. And you know what? I would be remiss if I did not mention tomorrow on iHeartRadio at 9 a.m. on WVON in Chicago. We will continue this conversation with CEOs from Zimbabwe at 9 a.m. WVON. Yeah, WVON on iHeartRadio. And it is powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, the Wake Up Show Chicago. You can also find it on this same YouTube channel on tomorrow. Listen, we want to thank everybody who participated on
Hey,
today.
MC, and let me just say this before we say, there was two guests. I want to make sure that we give the other young lady some final comments, and then I just only want to add to this is that WVON is a black-owned radio station. It's one of the largest and most vocal voices in the black community when it comes to urban stations, and you guys are going to be on there and we're going to have a great time discussing the enormous opportunities in Africa. So, if we could, MC, I'd like to give the young lady an opportunity for some closing thoughts, and then from there we'll sign off, and we'll see you guys down at the welcome reception here within the next half an hour.
Well, Larry, unfortunately, her signal has dropped off, so you
Okay.
must have the final word.
Hey, well, hey, my pleasure. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to building our relationships with our brothers and sisters from Africa and to strengthen Africa's hand because I believe that African Americans will never truly be respected economically until Mother Africa is respected economically at the same time.
Absolutely. And with that, thank you everyone who tuned in. And we'll see you tomorrow at Hollywood Boulevard for our networking session in Woodridge. Peace. We're out of here.
Thank you, MC.